President Trump wants the Jeffrey Epstein story to go away very badly. Big chunks of his MAGA base, though, do not, and they don't understand why the president won't release more information. Well, CNN included a question in our new poll. Are you satisfied with what the federal government has released on Jeffrey Epstein? And the answer, a pretty clear no. Just 3% say they're satisfied. 50% are dissatisfied. 29% say it doesn't matter, and 17% haven't heard about it. By party, notably, look at this. It is Democrats who are most unhappy. 56% say they're dissatisfied compared to 52% of independents and just 40% of Republicans. That suggests some Republicans may be heeding President Trump's call to move on, even as some of his staunchest allies are not.
I want to see more transparency, like a lot of other members and a lot of other Americans. I think if they don't, I think it's a message as Washington as usual, right? And a two-tiered justice system.
A lot of people in MAGA, they really want to know more information about the people that were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And is there a blackmail list? And are there foreign countries' governments involved? And there's nothing wrong with people continuing to ask that.
How big of a blowback is there right now in MAGA world specifically?
It's pretty big, I have to be honest. I'm always honest about what's going on. And yeah, this one has been pretty big.
I'm joined now by a terrific group of reporters here at the table. CNN's Kristen Holmes and CNN's Eva McKend, Abby Livingston of Puck, and Aisha Roscoe of NPR. Hello, ladies. This is nice. Okay, so I'm going to start with you, Kristen. I know that you have been doing some excellent reporting on what's really going on behind the scenes, all of the backlash. And before I bring you in, I just want to play a soundbite from Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is obviously an influencer in a big way, particularly with young men. He is the person who hosted the Turning Point organization's forum over the weekend, where they used so many of these MAGA people and their voices used that platform to speak out against the president. Now he's singing a different tune. Listen.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands. I've said plenty this last weekend. So if you guys want to see my commentary on it, that's fine.
Somebody got a big earful from the president of the United States.
He did. And what we know that happened is that we all saw the clip from Turning Point over the weekend in which Charlie Kirk was sitting down with Megyn Kelly, and it kind of escalated into them polling the audience of who would you rather see go, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino or Attorney General Pam Bondi, and the crowd resoundingly said they support Bongino over Bondi. And Charlie Kirk did receive a call from President Trump, which we reported over the weekend, expressing his support for Bondi. But what you're also seeing here is there seems to be an expectation from MAGA world right now that President Trump is going to make this right. You hear Charlie Kirk saying there that he's going to leave it to his friends at the administration. We also heard Lara Trump yesterday going on Betty Johnson's show saying that she believes Donald Trump is going to release more of the Epstein files, more unredacted documents, whatever that means. Now, when you talk to officials at the Department of Justice and at the White House, they are not saying the same thing. They are saying that this case is closed. But you're hearing these MAGA loyalists who really want there to be something else here because
she's not just a MAGA loyalist.
No, she's also family.
She's
also
his
family.
daughter-in-law who's trying to get a message out.
Right. And so there is a lot going on here. And if nothing does happen, I think you're going to see another shift.
I'm watching now how Democrats respond to this. They have an uneven record of really taking advantage of the internal divisions on the right. 40% is not an insignificant number of Republicans that want more answers. And you see Hakeem Jeffries leaning into this. You see Congressman Robert Garcia, the ranking member of the Oversight Committee.
I'm just going to interrupt you only to play some of what you're talking about from Democrats, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Pam Bondi said it was on her desk. Take it off of her desk and bring it over to Congress.
We need to release the Epstein files so we can restore government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Well, I want to know what the hell is in these files. And I think we all want to know why Trump is suddenly changing his tune and is so desperate to sweep this under the rug.
Epstein died by suicide. Believe that and you must be blind. You've been telling us you released the file, but where are they?
I mean, who knew that we could do this to music? As you continue what you're saying, I just want to remind our viewers of this brand new poll, which really speaks to what you're reporting, Eva, about Democrats. Right now, they are the ones who are saying that they want to hear more, very likely not because this is a top issue for them in their lives likely, but because they see a political opening when it comes to division in the GOP.
Absolutely, and Congressman Hank Johnson probably had the absolute best response. But yes, this is an opportunity for them, and they have a track record of not always taking advantage of those political opportunities. Republicans have seized on Democratic divisions when it comes to the war in Gaza, when it comes to immigration. Well, now Democrats have their opportunity.
I think part of the thing, too, that Republicans have to think about is, is this going to be bad for Trump? Trump is so in control of the party. That's very clear, right? So is he going to pay a price? Probably not. But if you look at the base and they want to take their frustration out on someone, they can take it out on that Republican in the Senate or the House and the establishment and this and that. That's part of the issue. Is like Trump, yeah, everyone loves him. It's much harder to go against Trump, but you can go against those nameless Republicans anytime.
I agree with that, except in this case, there is so much tape of people, not just Trump, which it includes Trump, but the people who are now at the highest levels of the administration that he put them in place, who have been stirring up this controversy, making it something that they want people, MAGA voters, to vote on, and making promises. One example, this is maybe the most epic of all of those examples, Kash Patel on with Glenn Beck in December of 2023.
So who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
Kash Patel is now the director of the FBI, which is why, Abby, people who were listening to him and went and voted for Donald Trump and believe that there's something there are saying, okay, Kash Patel, you now have the job. Tell us what's there.
Absolutely. And I think what's fascinating is Trump has demonstrated just total control of the administration and Congress. And this is going out into another realm. And a figure in this who I find fascinating, earlier this week I did some reporting on Elon Musk's third party and whether that's a threat to Republicans. And most of my sources were like, it's not a problem till it's a problem. But they said, but we are worried about what he's stirring up with Epstein. And we've got to remember he's got the megaphone of X, and he's the richest man in the world. And so that is a much more pressing concern to Republicans than third-party activity.
Can I just say one thing that I think we kind of gloss over here when you talk about President Trump having control of the party? This is President Trump's party. He created it. And the idea that he based it on was one that many people in the country were feeling, but no one had really responded to. And the idea was that Washington is controlled, the government is controlled by these elitists, and it's time to take them out of Washington and drain the swamp. There is nothing more swampy to these people than Jeffrey Epstein. And the idea of Jeffrey Epstein is rooted in these elites doing whatever they wanted, wherever they wanted. And so you're seeing his base, people coming to him, to President Trump, and that was part of what he ran on, was this draining of the swamp. Epstein is part of that.
But it's even more than that, right? It's the swamp and the deep state.
Right.
When you hear that, oftentimes you think of, and they mean nameless, faceless bureaucrats,
exactly,
otherwise known as career civil servants in a lot of these government agencies. This is conspiracy theory stuff,
right.
which is even more red meat.
This is the idea that there is a hidden cabal of pedophiles running things or doing horrible things to children, and that we need to get them. And that is very real. And when Republicans like Kash Patel and others found it useful to stir that up, they were stirring it up. But now that it's in their hands, they don't know what to do with it.
That being said, I would say that from my coverage being out in the field, Republican voters tend to be deferential to Trump. So I see them eventually coming around. But for the meantime, Democrats do have an opportunity here.
And that's certainly what our brand new poll suggests.